WrestleZone presents Lost in the Midcard. Here are your hosts, Jeremy Bennett and Matt Black. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast where you know it's WrestleMania season when someone gets arrested. Yeah! It's Lost in the Midcard. Welcome. Hello. We are a week and some change away from WrestleMania weekend. Amazing that we're already here, but we are. It's been a wild ride. It's been a fun ride. It's been a good ride. I think it's been a good build to WrestleMania, in my opinion. We're going to get into the latest of that and lots of happenings on Dynamite this week. No Collision, though, because of the basketball tournament, but that'll be back this weekend. But we'll talk about Dynamite because a couple of big title changes happened. So a couple of amazing names are now AEW champions that when the company was founded would be kind of crazy to think that they would be AEW champions, but here we are. If you have not done so already, make sure you are subscribed to WrestleZone on Facebook. That is all one word, WrestleZone. Make sure you hit the bell icon. Make sure that lets you know when you are notified every time we go live. And as well, on the video, give us a thumbs up. Help us spread it out to the masses, to everybody that joins us every Monday. Matt and I thank you. And to everybody in the chat, Mark Cho, Stephen Chambers, Uncle Howdy, welcome. Thank you for being in the chat. If you're in the watching us, you can jump in the chat at any time, bring up any topic, or make a comment on any topic. We'd love to hear from you. I'm your host, Jeremy Bennett. You can find me on the Twitter at JB Huskers. As always, my co-host, he is on the Twitter at Raw F Showtime. It is Mr. Matt Black. Matt, how you doing?
Doing all right, man. Looking forward to Raw tonight.
Yeah.
Chicago, Punk, Drew McIntyre.
I got my CM Punk shirt on.
Mindy's Bakery.
Oh, get some cupcakes.
It should be a very I would imagine it's going to be a very entertaining show tonight.
My God, this has like literally been. Where's this Drew McIntyre been? I mean, seriously.
Well, that's what happens when the handcuffs are off and you know your contract's coming up and you have nothing left to lose.
True.
Like, what are they going to do? Fire him? And I'm sure that's his attitude that he has at this point. So, and it's paid off for him big time.
Yeah, either he's made a lot more money where he's at or a lot more money elsewhere. One of the two. And everybody loves it. I mean, just looking around the internet, watching live reactions, watching people share stuff, videos and things. And, you know, it's definitely taken the wrestling world by storm. Something that maybe you may not have expected first of the year, but it's pretty cool to see. That's for damn sure. Let's get right into it. Let's kick things off first with Wednesday's Dynamite. Some big things happening. We kicked things off with Mercedes Moné once again. And then that was followed by our first match of the evening for the Continental Crown Championship, Eddie Kingston and Kazuchika Okada. And these guys put a damn good television match in front of us here. And honestly, Matt, I don't think it was any surprise that we saw Okada win this, right?
No, I mean, you don't put Okada in a title match this early into his run in the company if you weren't intending on putting the title on him. And as soon as they said it was only for one title and it wasn't for all three, I mean, if that didn't blatantly give away the fact that they were doing the title change, then, you know, nothing did.
How do you feel about the Continental Crown being its own belt, being defended and things like that, when you've got the international title, which to me felt like the Intercontinental title at first, and you got the TNT title, which also kind of felt like the second best title at first until Orange Cassidy. And now let me put a little aside here of how great Orange Cassidy was in 2023. I did an article here, or wrote a script for the most wins year by year of AEW wrestlers from 2019 to 2023. Orange Cassidy, I think he had 52 wins last year. And the next most down was 34 with Max Caster. If that tells you how, and then a year before, I think Moxley probably, I think, has the most wins in a year. He had 54 in 2022. But it just shows you Orange Cassidy was a workhorse with that championship, and it made it the secondary title. Now you've got Okada with the Continental title. You got 3 titles below your main title. So what are your thoughts on the Continental title? Game of Things.
On the Ring of Honor titles appearing on AEW programming, I don't feel like AEW has a too many title problem like so many people say. If you look at their let's just say their men's roster. Okay? So if we're going to eliminate the 2 women's titles out of it, there's 6 recognized championships in AEW for the men. The men's roster has 126 names on it.
Oh yeah.
And you've got 6 titles. I don't think that's that big. To me, like, that's not that big of a deal.
I just think it's odd that there's 3 secondary men's titles, though.
I don't. They have 126 men on their roster. And I'm not even talking about the women. I didn't even count the women's roster. They probably have, I would say, probably 30 to 40 women.
Yeah.
On their roster beyond, if you add up everybody that's injured and on the shelf right now. I don't think AEW has a too many title problem. I think their roster is more than large enough right now that they can run, 6 titles, 8 titles with the women's titles and not have a problem. I still think they could go 9 and bring in the women's tag team titles.
Yeah, they need to. I think
3
they need
titles,
to do that.
3 titles for the women, 6 titles for the men. I honestly don't think that's too much at all.
I just think it's just weird.
The talent depth of that company is so freaking deep that it does not hurt to have these titles because it helps establish people that are still important that aren't in the world title picture at the moment.
Yeah,
because if you were just going like world title, TNT title, then tag title, and you were forgoing any other singles title, you're dismissing like 75% of your roster at that point, because you can only have so many people competing for those 2 titles.
Yeah.
So I don't think AEW has a title problem. I like their titles. Like I said, I'd add a women's tag title, and from there, you're good. I know the argument can be made for the FTW championship, but it's not an officially recognized championship in AEW. Like, he can use it, he can defend it and whatnot, but it's not in like the AEW record books as an official title for the company. It's honestly just like a Ring of Honor title or a CMLL title or a New Japan title appearing on AEW programming. It can be defended, it can be recognized, but it's not an official AEW title.
Yeah, the FTW doesn't count, but it's just weird. You have 3 secondary. It's like, how are you going to separate these, differentiate these? Is there one that's going to be more prestigious than the other?
They don't need to. They don't need to be. You can make an argument that they're all on the same level.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the great things about it, because, like I said, their talent depth. Like, you can't say Okada is lesser than Samoa Joe. You can make an argument that Okada holding the Continental Championship makes that title just as important as Samoa Joe's World Championship. I don't.
I didn't think going in. I didn't think that was going to be a defendable title. I thought it was just going to be a passed on from year to year type of deal. But
no, the way the Continental Championship works is whoever is the champion following Full Gear when the Continental Classic begins, they will basically hand the championship over, and it will be defended in that year's Continental Classic. So they automatically get entered into the tournament.
Kind of like what Kingston did with his other 2 titles going
exactly.
in.
Exactly. So they if Okada holds that title till past Full Gear, he will be automatically entered in the 2024 Continental Classic, and he will have the chance to win the tournament and retain his title.
Going over to the chat, Mark Cho prayed for this and it happened. I'm not sure what you're talking about there, but let us know. Stephen Chambers, we will talk about the machine guns later on. And yes, Pac and Okada, that is going to be. I knew Pac, he said he wanted to stir up some trouble. I was pretty excited when he came out.
Awesome match on that Dynasty card. Is looking ridiculous right now.
Brienne, thanks for joining us. Glad to see you back here. And Pat, hello from Utah. Thanks for joining us as well. Yeah, Steven, I agree on Kingston and the ROH. Mark Briscoe needs to be the ROH world champion at some point in his life.
I don't know if they're going to do it based on the promo that they had Eddie cut on Ring of Honor last week.
Yeah.
I don't think they can afford to have him drop that title at Supercard of Honor. But if they were going to make a dedicated effort to Mark just being mainly on Ring of Honor,
yeah,
going into the sprint in the summer, yes, put the freaking title on him, because Kingston's hardly been on ROH at all beyond like pre-recorded promos since he won the Triple Crown. It's a disservice to the Ring of Honor World Championship, and if Eddie's not going to be around to do Ring of Honor weekly TV, and they can have Mark do that after this whole nonsense with House of Black is over, then put the title on Mark.
And my God, the people
they need a full-time world champion. Honestly, all their champions need to be present on that freaking show every week.
Yeah, and then
every freaking week.
The jump to conclusions people with House of Black right now. It's like, how many times has Malachi got to say he's not leaving? But yet everybody's jumping to conclusions saying they got pulled. I mean, unless something's changed.
They got pulled from what?
Somebody said they got pulled from the television or something. I'm like, what? I'm like, I don't know. It's like people want these guys to leave for WWE.
People like to fantasy book themselves into a shoot.
Yeah. So April 5th is Supercard of Honor. Is that Friday? Yeah.
Yeah.
So a week from Friday.
Go head to head with SmackDown and Hall of Fame and Rampage, and it's gonna be a disgusting night of wrestling cornucopia that you will be able to consume the Friday before WrestleMania weekend. There's too much on. I'm not going to be able to watch everything that Friday night. I will probably not see the Hall of Fame just because it's really not worth seeing anymore. Since they moved the Hall of Fame to
Peacock,
to be in the same venue with SmackDown, I don't think I've watched any of those Hall of Fames just because I know I watched the first one, and that's what it dawned on me that I didn't need to watch them anymore. They don't feel important anymore. Like the days of the great Hall of Fame standalone ceremonies, it's done. Like to me, the Hall of Fame ceremony is kind of an afterthought for WWE at this point. And if it's an afterthought for them, it's an afterthought for me. There's way too many other things on TV wrestling wise the night of the Hall of Fame. I'm not going to go out of my way to see it.
I can see why they moved it though, because for those that are actually in attendance and out and doing things, it was a pain in the ass to maneuver on Saturday. So I could see that. But of course, now you got WrestleMania 2 nights. That's a whole different thing now. I almost think Thursday, man, put it on at
Thursday. Honestly, that is the smart play.
7 to 10. Do a 7 to 10 on USA. You don't
even have to do it on USA. Run the damn thing on Peacock. That's fine.
You could do that. Yeah.
But it needs to be a standalone event to feel important again. And as long as it's bundled up with SmackDown, it doesn't feel important anymore. It really doesn't.
And then Steven in the chat saying the TV title a head scratcher. That's going to be the inaugural Ring of Honor Women's World Television Championship. Billy Stark's taking on Queen Aminata, who has really impressed with AEW. What?
Well, there you go.
Oh, okay. Then somebody said it. I'm not
fucking Disco Inferno. Who fucking cares?
Dude,
that man talks out of his ass more than hardly. He's right up there with the Bischoffs and the
Russos
and the Russos and the Cornettes and all those people right now that are just they're doing nothing but trying to toxify the wrestling industry. And as far as I'm concerned, nobody should be listening to any of them, and they should let them all move on to the old folks' home where they freaking belong.
And the tribalistic marks are just eating it up.
The tribalism in professional wrestling is disgusting in
Yeah,
2024.
Steven,
It's
rather
honestly
watch
my least favorite thing about wrestling right now is
rather
the
watch the
terrible
Bray.
stuff.
God, I damn near teared up at the preview they showed on Smack. I
Dude,
watched
the freaking trailer itself chokes me up. I don't even know how I'm going to get through the documentary.
be a blubbering
I
mess.
yeah, I think it's going to be really it's going to be a hard watch, honestly.
Gonna be a blubbering mess, man. I like the line Bo Dallas saying his legacy will live on forever. I really hope Bo decides to come back to wrestling at some point. I mean, he was on top of the world in NXT when basically 2014, 2015 when the network was in its infancy, and him and Pac were having great matches. I'm trying to think of who he took the title from. I think he took the title from Big E Langston.
Big E. Yep.
Yeah. And then of course obviously Vince shit the bed with him. And then you had him as Uncle Howdy, which, was a very long developing story that we never got to completely finish.
Yeah, we never got to see what the payoff for all that was going to be, unfortunately. So,
and in due time, I really hope Bo does come back to wrestling.
I do think he will be. I do think he will be back, and I think he will look to carry on.
That line he said made me think
legacy that in his own unique way. I think we will get a new side of Bo Dallas when he returns. Like, I don't even know if he'll be called Bo Dallas. He might go by his real name.
Yeah.
I'm not sure of the plan. But I do feel like we haven't seen the last of him in WWE, and I do feel like when he returns, he will try to carry on his brother's legacy in some form or fashion. And I think he can pull it off if they give him the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, and he's only 33. Miles left on the tires. And yeah, God, between him talking about carrying on the legacy and watching Mike Rotunda break down, it's like, God, I'm not going to get through that damn thing. I'm going to be a blubbering mess that whole damn thing. Saffet, thanks for joining us.
It's gonna be a tough one.
Bo Wyatt, yeah, that's not bad.
I don't know if I go Bo Wyatt. It's a little too on the nose for me, but we'll see what they want to do.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. But yeah, I that's April 1st, right?
Yeah, April 1st.
So that's coming up.
Right around the corner, man.
My God, it's the 25th of March today. Wow.
Yeah, actually, it releases, next Monday. Technically, if we wanted to, we could watch it before the podcast and review it right here on Lost in the Midcard next week if we wanted to.
I would like to, but I get off work literally 5 minutes before I come on the air. So I guess I could put it on while I work, but I wouldn't be able to have 100% focus on it.
That might be better, honestly, for your,
Hook took on Jericho, defeated Jericho. A lot of people getting tired of Jericho. Even like Conan going on his show saying Jericho needs to disappear for a bit and get back or find something because he's stale as hell right now. And I completely agree with that. Adam Cole sitting in a fancy chair for story time. Will Ospreay cutting another great interview. And a great tag team match with Deanna and Thunder against Timeless Tony and Mariah May. Then we got the I Quit match, which I've seen. I don't know if I will go this far yet. I maybe need to watch it again. But I mean, I'm seeing people say this was like the second best I Quit match of all time. I don't know if I would
I've seen a lot of people put it in their top 5.
Top 5, probably, yeah.
I loved it. I loved it. I thought it was great. I loved the main event.
So good.
I saw the argument from some people that said, "Oh, it was too WWE," and I'm like, "What is too WWE?"
You could have said
to me, it was just a great I Quit match. It wasn't too WWE. I don't understand.
You could have said it was too Impact.
That kind of argument.
You could have said it was too Impact. All the run-ins that were at the end.
Yeah, but I like that because it basically tied everybody's story together that's been involved in the last 3 to 4 months. with the two of them, and I think they wrapped it up in a nice little bow. And look, when you're in an I Quit match, there's no DQ. I expect you, if you have allies, that they would want to come out to the ring and and assist you in the match. To me,
Yeah.
everything that happened in that match made sense. I loved it to death. I thought it was great, and I do believe Copeland and Cage will move on from each other for the time being. And the next time we see them involved, it's one of them is going to turn face or one of them is going to turn heel, and they're gonna tag up to end their careers in AEW. I think they're gonna have a tag run. I think they'll win the tag titles.
Oh yeah.
I think they're done with each other for the time being, but I think they will get back together at some point and have a tag run in AEW, and I think it'll be a lot of fun.
The stars align. They face the Hardys at some point. And obviously the Young Bucks was another one, and FTR is another one. I mean,
they really FTR really wants that match.
Copeland
and I can't see it not happening.
Yeah, Copeland trained with Cash Wheeler on his way back to recovery and returning to the WWE.
Yeah, he trained with both of them.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a great match. A lot of cool weapons that you don't see every day. And as Brian Zane from Wrestling with Regret would say, dick kick city. There was a lot of dick kicks in this match. I loved Garcia and Daddy Magic helping out and handcuffing everybody, because then you knew that the tide was turning. And then they got Christian handcuffed and finally making him say, I quit. And once he got old, everybody wants to call it Janice. It's got its own unique abilities as opposed to Janice, but Spike has his own little personality. But yeah, that was a tremendous match. And, I have a feeling that Copeland and Garcia will probably run it back once, and then I'm very curious to see what kind of feud they have.
Well, Copeland said he's bringing back the Cope Open with the title.
Hell yeah!
So it's gonna be a Cody Rhodes type run, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Cody was coming out every week doing the open challenge for the TNT title. I think Copeland's gonna do the same thing, and I think we're gonna see some really fun matchups out of that in the weeks ahead, because you're never gonna really know who's going to come out and accept the challenge, and I like that about those types of things. Don't announce his opponents ahead of time. Just say he's doing a Cope Open on Dynamite or Collision or whatever, and let us speculate going into the show about who might answer the challenge.
Yep. Let's move on to SmackDown this week, with the big thing being the Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns face-to-face. There it is. Handshake, no handshake. Roman Reigns appeared on Pat McAfee's show live from a snowy Iowa City on Friday before SmackDown there. I don't know where SmackDown was this week. Where was it? Green Bay, Wisconsin. So a lot of snow. We did not get snow, so we got kind of lucky that the state over us got a ton of snow on Friday. If you didn't catch Roman Reigns on Pat McAfee, it was pretty cool, pretty good. I enjoyed it. And what were your thoughts on the face-to-face here, Matt?
I thought it worked. I thought it worked beautifully. I thought everything that Roman had to fire Cody's way, Cody responded in one-up and hit him with a one-up every single time. Mm-hmm. And by the end of it, it was exactly, they circled it back to the beginning of the promo when Roman asked Cody if he was a man of his word. And he came alone, and Cody said, I'm as much of a man of my word as you are, and if you're here alone, I'm here alone. But Roman wasn't a man of his word. He wasn't there alone, and Cody wasn't an idiot. He wasn't there alone either.
Exactly.
And it all spelled out the fact that Roman was bested on everything that he tried to fire Cody's way. Cody had an answer for. And as Cody said in his tweet on Twitter over the weekend, Roman, you're in the bottom of the ninth, pal. This title reign's coming to an end at WrestleMania 40, and I couldn't be happier. Bye-bye, Roman.
Brucas, hi from Portugal. Thanks for joining us, man. Thanks for getting in the chat.
What's up, man?
And he says he thinks the little flat, a little boring on Friday. I don't know. I thought it was the perfect answer to Roman being a liar, and the crowd popped pretty good with Jay and Seth appearing from the crowd. I thought it was a very good ending. I think it was a predictable ending, but yet a good ending.
It's one of those promos you need to listen.
Yeah.
To the promo instead of just relying on them raising their voice and going to the crowd to get the responses and everything. This was it was very much in the words of what Cody and Roman had to say, and you had to listen. And I thought that was part of the beauty of the segment itself, is because they were telling you the story between the two, and it wasn't, just the typical, ranting, yelling, screaming promos that you typically get from these guys at some times. So I thought it was great. I really enjoyed the close of SmackDown on Friday, and I'm looking forward to what Cody has to say on Raw tonight.
Frantic World, thanks for joining us here tonight. Our old buddy Charles in the chat. The ending of the TNT title match was no good for me. Christian taking a board of nails to the crotch and no blood, let alone not bleeding out and dying, just pulls me out of the match. Just too unrealistic. Well, I don't think we could blade.
Did anybody get a close up of the camera on Christian's crotch?
I don't think he's gonna.
The camera was to the back of Christian when that was done. How do we know? How do we know Christian's nuts didn't bleed a little bit from the spike, man? You're taking things too.
I don't think
too close to the heart there. And look, if Christian would not have quit, and he would have got Spike in the head, I think we would have seen a lot of blood there.
I don't
but
think
he was smart enough to quit, so we didn't have to worry about that.
I don't think a wrestler's gonna blade his scrotum either to get some color. So
that would be bad, man.
Yeah, I just don't think so. What did you think of Dominic interrupting Ray and Santos? Are we going back to that?
If this wasn't WrestleMania season, I'd be perfectly okay with it. But since it is WrestleMania season, I freaking hate it. Like, we just did this match at WrestleMania last year. You had the definitive conclusion there. I don't need to see Dominic and Ray again. They were doing everything, in my opinion, to build to LWO versus Legado.
Yeah.
In a big mixed tag match at WrestleMania. Now we're interjecting Dominic into this. Like, to me, it was completely unneeded. And I wish Dominic would stay with his Judgment Day counterparts instead of interfering in a brand that he doesn't even belong to.
Plus, Dominic has been doing very well this year and probably should have, I don't know, they consider that to be a high-profile match with his father, obviously, but a meaningful feud would be...
Look, if they really go back to those two one-on-one, you've literally just screwed Legado and LWO completely over.
Well, I said it was probably going to be a pre-show match anyway.
Because beyond an Andre the Giant Battle Royal spot, maybe, none of them are getting on that show without Mysterio. So I just think it's disappointed for all those guys.
Also on SmackDown, for the love of God, can we get more OC? I mean, Carl Anderson's just his hot tag, let alone let you know, Jesus, let's see more of these guys.
Sadly, they're mainly NXT acts now.
Yeah.
Which is incredibly disappointing. And honestly, unless this is for the entrance of Tama Tonga, if Tama's going to come in through NXT and immediately align with Gallows and Anderson, and then they're all going to come back up to SmackDown together, that's really the only thing I can think of is the reason why they're down there right now. They're Gallows and Anderson are just being wasted.
I am
on
way
SmackDown
behind.
and NXT right now. It's very disappointing because I love the Good Brothers. I think they're
me too.
One of the most talented tag teams in all of professional wrestling right now, and I just think WWE is just wasting them.
They could cut promos. They could cut promos. They could be funny when they need to be, and they're great in the ring. It's just, I just don't know what's going on. So they lost to Theory and Waller, who I think will lose to the Street Profits.
You got to have the Street Profits in the ladder match.
You got to.
You have to, dude, if you don't have Montez leaping off a ladder or some shit at WrestleMania, you missed the boat.
I'm worried, though. Those Theory and Waller have been featured a lot more than the Profits. Profits have been, the Profits have been in this
Well,
one-sided
they've been
feud.
teasing dissension with Theory and Waller as of late.
Yeah.
So maybe this loss will be the straw that breaks the camel's back. Maybe we'll get Theory versus Waller at Mania.
And
Maybe on
I
like a
think,
kickoff show or something
well,
like that. I
and
don't
then you
know.
asked about Legato. Legato's taken on New Catch Republic to qualify for that ladder
And
match.
I would
Legato might win that.
I think New Catch is going on. You can't
I,
you can't put everything you've put behind Dunn in bait in the last couple months and then lead them off Mania. I think that would be really bad.
I hope not.
And you
I hope not.
but
But I mean,
I want to see them in there with, more in there with doing stuff with DIY with ladders, man.
yeah.
I mean, let's fucking go.
But man, just watching SmackDown today and watching that hot tag run from Carl Anderson, I'm like, who has one of the best spine busters in the game.
All
And
the talent in the world, man. Machine Gun.
Man.
Much respect to Carl Anderson, man.
Graves was putting him over hardcore during that run too, and Graves knows it. So Io Sky and Naomi leading up to Bianca making a save. I'm gonna wonder if Jade Cargill joins those two girls and we get Damage Control against Jade, Naomi, and Bianca, or Naomi and Bianca
the direction that they're going.
Or Bianca and Naomi go to for the tag titles.
I hate that even more
because they're cursed.
Well,
Asuka looks like she's moving a lot better.
She looks better. She looks a lot better than last week. She worked some live events over the weekend. I think Asuka's fine. But here's the thing. Naomi left the company over how they were being treated and how the women's tag team titles were being utilized. Are you really going to bring her back to the company and then put her in a makeshift tag team for the tag team titles at WrestleMania? Like, did y'all seriously not learn from your mistakes? As much as I think it would suck that the tag titles aren't defended at Mania, I would much rather see Damage Control against Bianca, Jade, and Naomi in a 6-woman tag. I would much rather see that than the alternative of Naomi competing for those women's tag team titles again.
With Jade making her SmackDown, that was another thing. All these damn marks buying into Jade not quitting WWE. Come on.
What?
Oh, you did not see that? Oh
no.
My Lord. She said she made this comment or something on social media, and people construed it as she's gonna quit WWE. I'm like, you guys are so stupid.
People just trip over their own feet, jumping into these conclusions right now on social media as of late. It's ridiculous.
I know. This was not included in our normal rundown of news, but this did drop just before we went on, a couple hours before we went on the air. Just a Fightful Select article on the update of what they think, what they hear will be the futures of Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. As I've said on this show, they should main event the show, and it sounds like they are going to main event, stand and deliver.
All the more reason Melo should have just beat Ela for the fucking title to begin with.
I know.
There was no reason to do this Tony D'Angelo Dragunov match for the championship. They had everything set up perfectly. Melo could have beat Dragunov at Roadblock, and then Trick could have returned, and Trick could have earned the title shot against Melo and stand and deliver. And the talk that they want to do it in the main event, and instead the world championship is going to be between Dragunov and D'Angelo is really freaking dumb. Really dumb.
Multiple sources have told Corey Brennan at Fightful Select that the plan is for Trick and Melo to main event the show. One official who's been very hands-on with the story has been Shawn Michaels, who has helped plan and map out the storyline along with Trick and Melo. Many have asked about the status. One source told that Carmelo has been set for the main roster call-up since prior to the Royal Rumble. He's expected to move up full-time this summer. As for Trick, they did not expect the big pop that he got on SmackDown. And then random whoop that Trick chance happening last week on SmackDown as well.
They were in Memphis. So
yeah, so that is maybe going to push their hand and maybe continue this feud up onto the main roster. Those are some maybes there, but definitely expect Melo up.
I think it would be ridiculous to bring Trick up without a run with the title.
Yeah.
I think Trick can be the
Yeah.
centerpiece of that brand for an extended period of time, and then if you want to bring him back up and reignite the Trick Mello feud on SmackDown or Raw or wherever, that's perfectly fine. But I wouldn't be rushing that right now. Trick beats Mello, it's stand and deliver. Mello moves on to the main roster, and you let Trick shine on NXT by himself for a bit.
Yeah. I'm going to try to get it caught up on NXT tomorrow. I'm like a month behind. Next up, update on WrestleMania 41. Fightful Select posted this yesterday, and it appears that WrestleMania 41 is poised to still land in Minnesota. Back in July of last year, Fightful learned Minneapolis was a front runner to land 41. Based on the sources, Minneapolis is working on the assumption that they're going to land the show and hoping that an announcement will be made in the coming weeks. A lot of times those are made before Mania even happens, right, Matt?
No, they typically announce the following year's Mania at Mania.
At Mania.
So
Several
I would expect that announcement WrestleMania weekend in Philadelphia.
Several government officials have hinted heavily about the major show coming, and but when Fightful asked WWE officials, they could not confirm nor deny that WrestleMania is heading there. I'd be very excited. For me, it's a short drive or a cheap flight, so I'm all for it. I think I will probably go because at that point it'll be 9 years since my first ever WrestleMania. So. Go back into the chat here. Steven Chambers, OC getting the NXT Tag Champs. You feel that, Matt? You think it's heading in that direction?
I wouldn't hate it, but I mean that means probably an extended time period that they're going to be down there. But
and
if they're actually going to be utilized properly, I guess it's something we can work with.
Steven is saying guessing 42 in Vegas, 43 in Nashville. Yeah, those are two good cities to have that in. They always love to go back to other cities, though. But like, oh, Daryl!
What, Daryl in here with the barrel, dude? You're about to go to Philly next month and freeze your ass off for WrestleMania. At least Minnesota's going to be in a damn dome.
Yeah. Remember how great it was in New York? You were there, weren't you, Matt?
Oh, dude, that was my worst WrestleMania experience based on the venue being at MetLife in that cold, frigid temperatures for hours while it's like with snow and rain and stuff coming down. Awful experience.
I mean,
when I go to WrestleMania, I like it to be either in a hot weather stadium or in a dome where I don't have to worry about the weather. Like, to me, like the New Orleans WrestleMania was perfect. The dome was great. The weather outside was chill for the most part. Very, very good experience in New Orleans. I think Philadelphia is going to be a mess next month, honestly.
One of these years, I want to go to Nashville, not necessarily for Mania, but I just want to go to Nashville, go bar hop. Their chicken's pretty good too. Philly's the Holy Land, Daryl. Well, they are my favorite NHL team. Moving on quickly.
Yeah, you enjoy those club seats, sucker.
Yeah. Motor City Machine Gun news. The recent TNA tapings, according to Fightful Select, may have been the end of an era. They have confirmed PW Insiders report that there was a send-off, farewells, and such at the TNA tapings in Philly. The deals are set to expire in about a week for both Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley. They will be free agents on April 1st. Expected to have multiple suitors, but as of now are not expected back into TNA, but the door is open. What's your gut feeling on this one, Matt?
I think you take one look at the brackets for the vacant AEW World Tag Team titles right now, and I think bringing in a team like the Motor City Machine Guns makes all the freaking sense in the world, because that tag division needs some freaking help right now.
Yeah, it does.
I can't roll out WWE making a play. I think honestly every company that has the financial means should be making a play to secure the Machine Guns after these deals are up. And I would be inclined to believe if Anthem wouldn't have got rid of Scott D'Amore earlier this year, we wouldn't even
They
be
wouldn't
talking
re-sign.
about this right now.
No.
Because those guys would be remaining with that company for years to come. But unfortunately, TNA's loss is going to be AEW or WWE's gain, I would assume. I mean, there's always a chance New Japan scores them, but I don't think they're financially
They've not been
viable
buyers. They've not been buyers.
compared to what
lately.
WWE and AEW will do.
Yeah.
I think AEW needs the machine guns badly right now. That tag division needs a lot of help. It's the one part of AEW right now that's not great. And it was when the company started, but it's in dire straits right now. And like I said, honestly, just look at the brackets of that tag team tournament, and that's all you need to know to say AEW's tag division kind of whack right now.
You know,
So,
I would not, if they go to WWE, I would absolutely not hate it, because for two guys that have been at it as long as they have to finally make it to WWE, and you have Triple H in control who will make them shine, you know, I would absolutely not hate it. Obviously, AEW seems like an obvious answer just because I think they have more relationships
they've
there.
worked a couple AEW shows before.
Yeah, there's more
So,
relationships there. So yeah. And speaking of that bracket, yeah, a few days ago, Fightful Select said, well, Moxley had planned vacation, so they were never in the running, which makes it even weirder that they beat FTW at
FTW
or FTW. Oh,
so
FTR.
Let's just jump right into that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my main issue with FTR losing at Revolution, because here's the thing: all signs it looks like Bucks FTR at Dynasty.
Yeah.
If the bracket goes the way that I expect it to. But here's the problem: the last three times FTR has faced the Bucks, FTR has beat them the last 2 times. The Bucks beat them in the first fight, and FTR beat them the second and the third time. It would make sense, in my opinion, to have the Bucks win at Dynasty so they can be holding titles while Okada's holding the title. But then you make FTR look terrible, dropping back-to-back pay-per-view matches when they certainly didn't need to.
But if you do it well enough where the Bucks cheat or something, but they get the win and then it's 2-2, you got a plan in place, especially if they cheat to win or something. You've got a plan in place to, especially if there's outside interference or some shit like that. You've got a plan in place to have the 5th set in the series to break the tie, and you can do it inside the cage, just like they did with Penta and Phoenix in that amazing cage match, which some call is one of the best tag team matches of all time. You could have FTR and the Bucks in a cage to settle that feud for here on out, and then maybe
I don't hate that, but if FTR is to lose again in Dynasty, they need
a creative way out.
They need to majorly be protected in the finish of that match, because at this point, with Mox and Claudio not in this tournament, there was zero reason for them to beat FTR at Revolution. And I'm sure there are people that can argue, well, FTR can win the titles of Dynasty, then Mox and Claudio could come out and be like, well, we should be champs. Well, where the fuck were you guys? Because storyline-wise, they can't say Mox had time off. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. Mox just vanished from television. It honestly, it really sucks that we were put in this that FTR was put in this situation to begin with. They shouldn't have lost to Mox and Claudio at Revolution, bottom line.
Our final story going in before we preview Raw and Dynamite this week. Major League Wrestling is interested in bringing in Mauro Ranallo, and so it is possible that Mauro may be heading back to pro wrestling. Fightful Select has learned that MLW has been in talks with Ranallo, possibly appearing for the brand. It's not a done deal, but there is interest on MLW's side. Court Bauer, the owner, and Mauro have worked together on Strikeforce in the past. And of course, Mauro as the tremendous announcer, SmackDown NXT before he left in 2020. What are your thoughts on Him coming back to pro wrestling for one, and two, doing it with MLW.
MLW's commentary is not good. I'll just be straight up honest with that. I cover MLW right here at WrestleZone every time they do a show. Their commentary leaves a lot to be desired. They made an improvement by getting rid of Matt Stryker. I appreciated that. But it's still not good. Morrow would certainly improve the overall flow of the commentary, but he needs to be with the right partner. And I'm not sure who they would choose to partner him with. But I would like to see Morrow back in professional wrestling. I don't know if MLW is the right fit for him right now.
Man, imagine Morrow and Nigel together.
I agree with MK. I do believe Mox is winning the IWGP Championship at Windy City Riot. I think he's leaving with that title, which to me completely, debunks
Who
him.
Who holds
that
right now?
Naito.
Oh, that's right. He took it from Finlay, right? Or no?
No, Finlay lost the global championship.
Yeah. I get those two
to
confused.
Nick Nemeth.
I get them all confused now that they've rebranded shit.
No, this is the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, the big one.
Yeah, the big one. The one that looks has a funky design on it now.
It kind of looks like the butterfly belt again.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
All right, looking ahead to
I like the old design better.
That's right. Sonata had that before Naito. Looking ahead to Monday Night Raw, CM Punk returning to Chicago. That's going to be interesting with Drew in the building, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Jey Uso taking on Shinsuke Nakamura. Sami Zayn takes on Big Bronson Reed. Ivy Nile taking on the new asshole of Candice LeRae, who really has become a prick lately. Ricochet, JD McDonough. Andrade was supposed to take on Ivar, but Fightful Select has indicated Ivar not clear, so Andrade is going to take on Giovanni Vinci. And on Dynamite this Wednesday, the Bucks and Private Party in the quarterfinal. Takeshita and Swerve, that won't suck. And Ospreay and Shibata, that won't suck. I don't know if they've announced anything else, but that's on the poster. So
yeah, he's hurt, dude. But it's Chicago, MK. Come on, I think Punk. He's
training. So
Punk being on Raw tonight indicates to me that he will have some kind of involvement at WrestleMania 40. I'm not saying he's going to get physical or anything, but maybe he's on commentary. Maybe he's
guest referee for Drew and Seth.
Yeah, I feel we will see CM Punk in some sort of capacity at WrestleMania 40, and that's why he's on Raw tonight.
Yeah, and it's going to be fun because the feud with him and Drew is just continuing to grow. We are at the end of 911 on. I don't think Dick Wolf does 911, but we're Rob Lowe's going to
break.
Rob Lowe's signing us off tonight. Happy 60th birthday, Rob Lowe. He had a hell of a birthday party there. Have yourselves a good week. Enjoy the shows. Quit being a tribalistic bitch. And thanks for tuning into Lost in the Midcard. For Matt Black, this is Jeremy Bennett. Have yourselves a good week. We'll catch you next week.